Mr. MX, Episode 2, Smoke on the Water. After lengthy discussions regarding the most modern conflict resolution techniques, Mr. MX has, at the suggestion of the Secretary General of the United Nations, traveled to the suburban headquarters of the American Society of Superheroes, where he hopes to enlist the aid of its members in reaching a mutually satisfying solution to his differences with the European nation of Switzerland. But Mr. MX received some discouraging news from the senior project manager. I'm afraid you've come all this way for nothing, Mr. MX. You see, most of our heroes are off-site until next week at our annual team-building retreat. Thwarted at this juncture, Mr. MX is surprised to encounter a casual acquaintance, Captain Helmet. Mr. MX recounts the disappointing outcome of his meeting to an increasingly disgusted Captain Helmet. That's just typical. Here, take this letter of introduction to this man. Oh, so you're a friend of Captain Helmet. Well, how can I help you, Mr. MX? Mr. MX explains his feelings about Switzerland and requests guidance regarding what to do next. Mr. MX, I believe I can help you. Just as soon as I have your retainer check, this is what you'll do. Mr. MX arrives in France and is met by Frogman. Ah, Monsieur MX, I am happy to meet you again, this time on my home turf, as I believe you Americans say. I have some tedious personal matters that require my presence in the city for a few days, but you shall take my automobile and proceed without me. No, it is decided, I insist. Although outwardly bearing the trappings of the carefree American tourist, Mr. MX navigates the winding alpine roadways with secret determination. Later, after checking into a fashionable Swiss ski resort, Mr. MX places a call back to the States for further guidance. Mr. MX, you must now make yourself conspicuous. Advertise your presence, and I believe the people you seek will naturally seek you out. The next day, Mr. MX begins to avail himself of the idyllic surroundings and to enjoy the wonderful skiing for which Switzerland is so justly famous. But it does not take long before such a distinctive visitor attracts the attention of some of the less hospitable natives. Mr. MX skis masterfully and seems to elude his pursuers, but suddenly finds himself engulfed in a strange fog. As the fog seems to clear, Mr. MX finds himself not only surrounded but also witness to a surprising sight, where the fog does not so much clear as it does reform into the shape of a strangely attired man, the Swiss Mist. I had the impression that you were a superhero, Mr. Mist, but that is difficult to believe based on the company you seem to keep. Herr MX, we are all sometimes driven to, shall we say, desperate measures when we feel that our homeland may be in danger. But you don't seem to feel any particular compulsion to avoid abetting those who put others' homelands in danger. If you refer to my country's banking practices, we simply feel that it is not our place to impose our judgments on the actions of others. We feel that by promoting a stable economy in an atmosphere of diplomatic neutrality, we can have more of a stabilizing influence on surrounding nations. If you disagree with our way of life, that is unfortunate, but I am afraid you are in no position to make any demands. But I am in a position to draw your attention to the destabilizing influence of a nuclear wasteland in the center of Europe. A nuclear wasteland where, up to now, has been located one of your country's most lucrative sources of tourism revenue. A nuclear wasteland right here. Now that I give it more thought, perhaps we can reach a mutually agreeable compromise. But I'm afraid I haven't sufficient authority to make a decision like this myself. I'm certain that I can trust you to bring it to the attention of the proper parties, Mr. Mist. Later, Mr. MX and the Swiss Mist relax in the ski lodge with Frogman. Perhaps coincidentally, a group of Swiss banks has suddenly released a list of dormant bank accounts dating back to 1945 and has defined a process by which claims may be made. A prominent Swiss legislator has also announced plans to introduce a new law that would supersede Article 47 of the Swiss banking law and lift the veil of bank secrecy in matters related to criminal investigations from abroad. Well, Monsieur MX, the Secretary General must be pleased that you feel that you have made what you consider to be progress in Switzerland. What is next on your itinerary? I'll head south to investigate some unusual activity that's been reported near the Vatican. Then you must look up my brother, who is a guard there. I am sorry that I cannot go along myself, but I shall be accompanying Frogman, who has graciously extended a provisional offer to join the European Elite League of Superheroes. Next time, all the roads lead Mr. MX to Rome in Dispensation of Danger.